presentation by Mr. Puneet Chopra, Associate Director, Microsave, on how IT can be useful for BFSI sector innovations and initiatives. Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thank elets for this opportunity to have me here in this event. So we have been talking about how the Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile Trinity and PMJDY, how they have, over the last year and a half have accelerated financial inclusion. If you look at some of the data, and we've seen and talked about this since morning, there have been almost 193, 194 million, 19 crore plus accounts that have been opened. However, if you look at the zero balance accounts, almost 35 to 40% of them still continue to be zero balance. And if you look at the average balances that are there, excluding the zero balance accounts, they are showing healthy trends. So clearly demonstrating that if people, masses can be educated about the benefits of banking and financial system, there is potential for them to save, and there is opportunity. In the previous session, we heard some of the challenges related to education and related to financial literacy. So at our end at Microsave, we have taken up this agenda for the last year or so, and what we have tried to do is that what can we do beyond the traditional methods of financial education and financial literacy? Can we bring in some innovation there? What our experience has been, and we have done a considerable amount of field work, market research and so on, classroom based and face-to-face kind of training and financial literacy techniques have their own limitations. So given that there is so much innovation happening on technology, how can some of those innovation also be taken ahead in the subject of financial education and financial literacy? So if you look at where we feel financial education or literacy is required, and at multiple levels in this entire ecosystem. So in the case of banks and many of the new and upcoming banks, there are new people who join, particularly at the front end. Many of the banks have a model where they have external hires or DSAs or field staff who may not have been exposed to banking products and services adequately. And we clearly, in our experience, we've seen that there is a significant need for them to be aware of the right products and services, about banking procedures, about compliance, KYC and so on. And then the next year is in terms of the bank mitras and CSPs, and finally the consumers and masses. And so for the first two, it is around training, skill building, about their ability to service and do their daily tasks in an appropriate manner. And for the consumers and masses, as we also heard in the previous sessions, from very basics about financial literacy, understanding the basics of budgeting, around savings, around the importance of banks, understanding what bank mitras are, and then moving forward to the various products and services under PMJDY, some very, very relevant and appropriate products that have been introduced, and so on. What we have seen that the current methods which are mostly used, they have some downside, and therefore, like there was a mention earlier that if you look at the number of BCs or bank mitras, it's probably 250,000 plus. Now, how do we make sure? And then there is also a lot of attrition. Some of the research that we at Microsave have done demonstrates that churn at bank mitra level is as high as 40 to 50%. So maybe 100,000, 125,000 of these bank mitras are actually not in the system for more than 1 year, and new ones are coming every year. How do we ensure that what they need to learn is actually taken to all of these new people who come into the system holistically. So the challenges are in the in logistics, in the cost that would be involved if it is a classroom based or a paper based kind of training. How do we keep the content refreshed and up to date? We have seen, for example, under PMJDY, Jeevan Jyoti Suraksha Bima Yojana or Atal Pension Yojana, many such new schemes that keep getting introduced. How do we ensure that all this is reaching the bank mitras and BCs in a comprehensive manner, and where some of this information is there, we find that they do not understand it holistically. For example, in insurance, we did some research to understand whether they understand the entire process end to end. Do they understand and are able to communicate to the consumers that come to them? What is the nomination process? Who can be a nominee? What is the claim process? And so on. And a lot of this information, even though for these are national schemes, was not known to them. And therefore, they were also not able to really service their customers well. So, and like also mentioned in one of the previous sessions, that learning and financial literacy is a continuous process. It's not really one time. So how do we ensure that refreshment trainings and a continuous contact with all the stakeholders is there? So keeping all this in mind, what we have tried to do is build solutions and platforms that try to address some of these problems. What we have tried to do is, how do we leverage cloud, internet, and, mobile, IVR, and other technologies that have that are now available and extensively in use, as well as the cost of deploying, cost of usage has come down significantly and is continuing to come down. So one of the themes around this has been that can the discovery and the access of this content and knowledge to this large audience, in terms of consumers, it is actually all the 125, 128 crore Indians. And at the BCBM level, all these 250, 300,000 BCs. Now, how do they really, they are able to easily access this content? So, what we describe as, a one number and a one mobile app kind of approach. So, one number is essentially IVR solution that we have developed. And this is primarily meant for BCs, although we are also now working towards extending it to masses in general. In this, the BC can call a number which is kind of advertised. So it's one number which any BC or Bank Mitra from anywhere can call. And then the entire set of training that is there is provided on this IVR. There is a callback that is given to the Bank Mitras. So it is not chargeable to them. And then we have structured the content on the IVR. They can, in a very interesting and engaging kind of format, they can go through the entire curriculum. Right now, it is available in English and in Hindi, and as it is gradually, we are working towards now taking it to all the other languages. So therefore, across regions, it can be available. They can also, other interesting things around this is they can also interact with the system. They can leave behind their queries, or they can also share some of this. So suppose they come across a segment which they find interesting, they can do some amount of peer sharing on that. The other one is a mobile app for training and capacity building of Bank Mitras. Again, it is the curriculum and the content is quite similar, but this is now also more rich media. It's got more of audio visuals. And again, what we are trying to do is that the discovery of this can be easy. So any Bank Mitra can actually, using an Android phone, can discover the app, and then the entire content is essentially available to them. And all the challenges that I mentioned previously Many of them can be addressed in terms of relevance, making it more current and updated, and the discovery of various relevant things that they need to know on an ongoing basis. What we have also done is to also introduce, apart from pure learning and education, also can some of the aspects about their daily operations be made easier for them. For example, if they are representing a bank, or if there is a credit product that they are offering for a bank, many of them don't even know how to, suppose there is a loan product, what is the EMI that their customers should be paying. So describing the basic features of a loan product, or if a customer comes and asks, I want to take a loan of 1 lakh, what will be the EMI? They do not have easy tools available to them. Many of them may not actually be having access to a PC or be able to do it in Excel. So those kind of things we have introduced here, so they can just enter the basic information, the tenure, and it will give them the EMI. Similarly, on KYC, we see that often, there are, one is basic understanding about KYC, which KYC is applicable for which kind of product, POI, POA, and then the amendments that keep happening from RBI standpoint. So at a central level, we can make those amendments, and that information can be accessed here. There are also features around product marketing. So as they explain products to consumers, we have tried to make some interesting sort of advertising features here, which they can actually, like a demo, like a salesperson, they can show it to the customers who come to them, and it helps, it aids them to explain what are the benefits of availing a particular product. So it comes as an aid to them to sell them, cross-sell, upsell effectively as a BCBM. So these are broad sort of table of content, so to say, and this has been developed based on our experience as well as a lot of training needs assessment that we conducted. I'll try to just show you one on problem with the sound, but just to give you an example, so this explains everything about voter ID as a KYC. Similarly, all the various types of KYC that are there, that are explained, and these are accessible through the app. So once the mobile app is a discovery point, and at the back end, then all these assets are available for them. Similarly, on product marketing, we have developed some films and AVs. So what we are looking for is that these assets and platforms that we have created are essentially available at no cost and fees, and anybody who's any bank or entity who's interested can actually make the best out of it. We have already made these investments. We are happy to customize it and tailor it for your specific needs. So if there is any interest, you can reach out to me. My ID is there. Thank you.